OnStar can remotely slow your car to 3 miles per hour, and they've done it over 59,000 times. I learned this after getting pulled over last March on Interstate 40 for a busted tail light I didn't know about. Sitting there watching the officer walk up in my rearview mirror, hands sweating on the wheel, I had this sudden intrusive thought. What if the car had just stopped itself? Not because I did anything wrong, because something in the dashboard decided I looked tired. I laughed at myself. That was paranoid. Then I went home and spent 4 hours reading about what modern police vehicles can actually do to yours, and I stopped laughing. That taillight stop was old-fashioned policing. Lights, siren, human judgment. But the tools available to police right now, today, go far beyond a cruiser pulling up behind you. Police can now stop your car while you're driving, and the technology making that possible has been quietly rolling out for almost 2 decades. OnStar's stolen vehicle, Slowdown, has been active since 2009. When law enforcement confirms a vehicle is stolen and enters it into the National Crime Information Center database, they can request that OnStar send a signal to the car's engine. The system gradually reduces engine power. Hazard lights flash. The car slows to an idle speed of roughly 3 to 5 miles per hour. Steering and brakes remain fully operational the entire time. The accelerator simply stops responding. OnStar President Chet Huber put it simply, "Our subscribers have told us they don't want their vehicle to be the instrument of harm." The numbers are real. OnStar receives roughly 1,000 stolen vehicle requests every month in North America. Over 17 years, more than 59,000 stolen vehicles have been located through the system. General Motors says the stolen vehicle slowdown feature specifically executes 5 to 7 car slowdowns per month. That is not theoretical. That is happening right now on actual highways, while people are reading their exits. This builds on decades of vehicle recovery technology. LoJack launched the first electronic stolen vehicle tracking system in 1986, establishing the foundation for today's remote intervention capabilities. Then there's StarChase, a Virginia company that takes an entirely different approach. A compressed air launcher mounted behind the grille of a police cruiser fires a 4.5-inch GPS projectile that sticks to a fleeing vehicle. Officers track the car in real time without ever exceeding the speed limit themselves. Each tag includes a pre-coded, irreversible 8-hour maximum tracking window that automatically terminates. The White Settlement Police Department in North Texas became one of the first agencies in the region to adopt it in January 2024. Across the Atlantic, a UK company called E2V built a prototype called RF SafeStop in 2013. An operator presses a red button, and a 5-second radio pulse burst confuses the electronics of any vehicle within 50 meters, shutting it down. Product manager Andy Wood demonstrated it publicly. Meanwhile, Eureka Aerospace developed a similar electromagnetic device weighing 230 pounds, small enough to fit in a police car. Their prototype disabled a 1999 Honda Accord with a single pulse. The U.S. Justice Department has called vehicular pursuits the most dangerous of all ordinary police activities. Between 2017 and 2022, at least 3,336 people died in police car chases across the United States. More than 52,600 people were injured between 2017 and 2021. Since 1979, over 5,000 bystanders have been killed during pursuits. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration logs roughly 30,000 police chases per year, resulting in about 300 deaths annually. The Police Executive Research Forum released updated pursuit guidelines in 2024, emphasizing the need for technology. Assisted alternatives to traditional high-speed chases. Here's the detail that stayed with me. 82% of the time, a car chase resulted in a death during that period. It began as a pursuit over a traffic stop or a non-violent offense. Only 15% involved someone suspected of a violent crime. David Hiller, National Vice President of the Fraternal Order of Police, laid out the math bluntly. Before remote slowdown technology, There were exactly 3 ways to end a chase. The officer calls it off, the suspect decides to stop, or someone crashes. That is a brutally short list. Think about this for a second. Before I keep going, if your car was stolen right now, tonight, and it had this technology, would you want OnStar to slow it down? Or does giving any company that power over your engine make you uneasy, even if you bought the subscription? Drop it in the comments. If you want to know what comes next, hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. The next video will change how you look at your car entirely. Thieves are stealing vehicles in under a minute using a device hidden inside a Bluetooth speaker. Law enforcement can use the same vulnerability to pull your texts, your calls, your location history without a warrant. That video drops next week. In November 2021, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act passed with a provision called Section 24220. It directed the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, to establish rules for what the law calls Advanced Impaired Driving Prevention Technology. The idea, championed by Mothers Against Drunk Driving, was passive monitoring. The plan would create a system built into the car that could detect driver impairment and prevent or limit vehicle operation, similar to how ignition interlock devices already prevent drunk drivers from starting their cars after driving under the influence convictions. Critics immediately called it a kill switch. Representative Thomas Massey of Kentucky said it almost sounds like the domain of science fiction, dystopian science fiction, that the federal government would put a kill switch in vehicles. He called the concept Orwellian. Representative Chip Roy of Texas told the Daily Signal it represents a direct threat to our Fourth Amendment rights. Representative Harriet Hageman of Wyoming called it a massive and likely unconstitutional rule and an invasion of privacy on a greater scale than we are used to seeing from our government. In February 2025, Representative Scott Perry of Pennsylvania introduced the No Kill Switches in Cars Act, seeking to repeal the mandate entirely. Then in January 2026, just this past month, the House voted 268 to 164 to reject an amendment that would have defunded enforcement of the provision. The mandate survived. NHTSA missed its own November 2024 deadline to finalize the rules. The agency says it is still working through more than 3,000 public comments. The technology is expected to go into effect late this year or early 2027. I want to stop here for a second, not to tell you what to feel about any of this, just to make something clear about what this law actually does not do. Snopes investigated the government kill switch claims specifically and rated them mostly false. The provision does not give the government a remote kill switch, does not require automakers to give law enforcement remote access to your car. It directs the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, to set a standard for technology that passively monitors driver performance or blood alcohol concentration. The monitoring happens inside the vehicle. That distinction matters, regardless of where you land on the debate. But the privacy groups are not wrong to ask questions. The Electronic Frontier Foundation, the American Civil Liberties Union, and the Electronic Privacy Information Center all urged federal regulators to ensure any system minimizes data collection, keeps information inside the vehicle, and provides transparency. A consumer watchdog report estimated that a coordinated fleet-wide hack could cause approximately 3,000 deaths from a single breach. The mission creep argument is straightforward. Once the infrastructure for behavioral monitoring exists in every car, the precedent for broader control exists too. Speed limits. Environmental restrictions. The hardware is already installed. Even Tesla has demonstrated remote disable capabilities in documented vehicle repossession cases, showing how automakers already possess this technology infrastructure. So let me be precise. Right now, police can request OnStar to slow a stolen vehicle, but only after the owner confirms theft, the vehicle is listed in the National Crime Information Center, and officers have visual contact. They can fire a StarChase GPS tag to track a fleeing car without pursuing it. They can deploy spike strips. They can use the PT maneuver. What they cannot do is remotely stop any car at any time. Nissan, for example, does not allow law enforcement to shut down vehicles like the Sentra remotely. OnStar will only assist with stolen vehicles and possibly missing persons. The legislation moving forward does not hand the government a button that turns off your engine. But 850,000 cars were stolen in the United States in 2024 alone. That's one every 37 seconds. 42% of those are never recovered. An economic journal study found that electronic immobilizers lowered vehicle theft rates by about 40% between 1995 and 2008. The technology works. The question everyone is arguing about is what else it could eventually work for. I still think about that night on Interstate 40. The busted tail light, the officer's flashlight sweeping my back seat, the mundane humanity of a traffic stop conducted the way they've been conducted for decades. No algorithms, no passive monitoring, no radio pulses disabling my engine from 50 meters away, just a person walking up to another person's window. My car did not decide anything for me that night. It just sat there, engine idling, doing exactly what I told it to. And if you want to know about the $10 engine component that is secretly destroying your engine, click on the video on the right. Subscribe. And thanks for watching.